I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Coralville City Council. It's Tuesday, June 23rd, and it's 6:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Here. Council members Freeman, Peterson, Nguyen, Vogelsang, and Knutson are all in attendance, as are city engineer Scott Larson, city clerk Thor Johnson, city attorney Kevin Olson, and many valued staff in the audience. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Peterson, second by Knutson. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda is approved. Tonight we have a remembrance of a former Coralville Mayor and State Representative Dick E. Meyers. His wife Doris and son Michael are here with us this evening. And Senator Robert Dvorsky is a friend and colleague and is going to speak a little bit to us tonight about Dick Meyers. Thank you.
Thank you. Having known Dick for a number of years, it's really an honor to say a few words about him. One of the things, first of all, his name is Richard E. Meyers, Jr. He went by the name Dick because he said they thought people liked that kind of name running for politics, like Dick or Bob, some good name like that, right? So anyway, Dick Meyers, one of the unique things about him is he served at every conceivable level of government as a public servant. He was on the Coralville City Council. He was mayor of the city of Coralville. Then he was on the County Board of Supervisors, Johnson County. And then I got the opportunity to serve with him in the Iowa legislature. He actually took my seat for state representative when I moved over to the Iowa Senate in 1994 on a special election. So it's a typical Dick Meyers thing, though. Our current state senator there resigned, and I was going to run for that seat. And so I announced I was running for the seat, and our leader in the Iowa House said to Representative Newhouser, who you may remember, and I, who would you like to have run for the seat? So we took 1 minute and said, who's going to call Dick? So he had just gotten off the Board of Supervisors and he was free to run. So he ended up running for that seat. He was unopposed. I had a real tough candidate against me, but he was unopposed. That's sort of a Dick Meyers legend type thing. But he got in the Iowa House and he became the leader after, a couple of years. So he really did nice work over there. Dick used to get excited about all kinds of stuff in the Capitol. He would run over, sometimes he'd get excited. He'd run over to the Senate and want to talk to me, and then he would forget what he was excited about. So, but he really did a nice job there of trying to deal with the Democrats in the minority. So anyway, as I said, he served at the state level, and he also served at the federal level. He worked for Farmers Home under the Jimmy Carter administration. And Jimmy Carter famously stayed in the Meyers' house in Coralville. So that's another bit of things there. Also locally, he did start the 4th of July, the 4th Fest Parade. He and the 4th Fest Parade, and Margaret Morgan and Dick started it, yes. And the old school also, if you know the old Coralville School, he was instrumental in saving that for the city of Coralville. And there's probably a number of other things. There is a story or a legend once too, that a local lady lived right at an intersection. There was no stop sign there. So she called Dick, he just became mayor, and said, we need a stop sign here. So he went down, got his own stop sign, put it up there, and it's still there. So he was an active mayor who got things done. There's another anecdote about the city council. He was appointed to an open seat on the city council and served maybe a year or so, and then he was up for re-election. This was way back in the 60s, I guess. And he was going to run for re-election. At that time, they ran everybody all together. All 5 council seats were up at one time. So the local political boss here, Russ Slade, said, well, we enjoyed you being on the city council, but we had some concerns, so you can run, but you're going to finish 5th. You know what he finished? 5th. So that's the time when Coralville actually had they call it the Slave Machine, which was a group, the People's Progressive Party it was called also. There was a group of people in Coralville had their own sort of political party and really had an idea on how to run elections and do it block by block, person by person. And that hasn't been much since then. So, as I said, Mary Newhauser and I mentioned Dick, and then Dick, there were 3 or 4 other people who wanted to run for that seat, and Dick talked to all of them and convinced them not to, and so he ran and got to be a state representative. So, Dick was also a very shrewd person politically and understood who was doing a good job and who was important. He was on board for Barack Obama in 2007. Obama started, the election was 2008. Dick was on board in 2007. I know he told us, this is the guy you got to get behind, this sort of thing. And he worked pretty hard for Barack Obama. He ended up at the end being named one of the co-chairs of the campaign in Iowa. So Jimmy Carter, Barack Obama, he really understood what was going on and those sort of things. And he understood people in Des Moines working also. So one other anecdote that he actually told me once when he was got to Des Moines, one of the first few days, is he said, I think this is really great advice. Of course, it was told in the Dick Meyers way that it's hard for me to replicate that. But he said, you know, you have to be yourself when you're here in Des Moines. Be yourself. Me, I'm an ass, so I'll keep being myself in Des Moines. So that's, I mean, it made the point that you really do need to be yourself and remain true to yourself when you serve in the legislature or probably any public office. So that's sort of good advice Dick gave now and then and was really helpful. As I said, he was a mentor towards me in a lot of subtle ways and a lot of unsubtle Dick Meyers ways too, where he'd actually tell you, you know, what you needed to do. So what a career and what a life. Just amazing, and I think we were all lucky to have him around then and have him involved in our community and involved in our world. So, R.I.P. Dick Meyers.
Thank you so much. A celebration of life for Richard Meyers will be July 6th, and we have this special display out in the foyer that shows his white suit that he wore at every parade on his motorcycle, and then later in a fancy car, and he just kept that Coralville parade going for many, many years. And we just want to thank Doris and Mike for being here tonight, and we're so pleased that we could honor him. And I think a way that we will honor him is by recognizing the Fourth Fest Committee, which is continued on with the 4th of July and the upcoming Fourth Fest activities. We have the committee here, many are here, and Amy is going to show us a slideshow, PowerPoint of what's coming up. I just wanted to list the committee members. Lynn Snyder is the director of it all. And Amy Erickson, these are all volunteers. Some are city employees too. That's what keeps us all going. So Lynn Snyder, Amy Erickson, Paula Bakey, Barry Bedford, Ellen Bigelow, Alex Burmeyer, Eric Fisher, Lori Goodrich, Minda Heyman, Kelly Hayworth, Dave Johnson, Shane Crone, Matt Knuckles, Sean Pearson, Liz Robertson, Ori Schweitzer, Emma Schweitzer, and Jenny Struthers. And we just want to be excited about the 4th of July coming up, and Amy's going to show us what to do there.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. So we didn't rehearse this, so I don't know, Lynn, if you want me to talk or if you want to talk and I go through the slideshow or just take it away. Okay. All right. I will try to keep this brief, but as many of you know, the Fourth Fest would not be possible without our generous sponsors. So we want to recognize our title sponsor Hills Bank. Randy's Flooring is our community partner sponsor this year, and our presenting sponsor, Coral Ridge Mall. This year, actually, we are celebrating our country's 250th as well, so that's incorporated into some of the different events. Each year, Fourth Fest kicks off with our 5K. The 5K is put on by the Coralville Parks and Recreation Department. The streets has involvement. Police help keep the path safe. It is this Saturday, the 27th at 8 a.m. You still have time to register. We even take registrations all the way up between 7 and 7:45 in the morning, with the race beginning at 8 o'clock. This is a friendly race. We have continued to have requests for more age ranges for medals and placements, and we just keep adding them on. So we have, what I love about this event is we have kids under 10 that participate, and we added the category last year of 70 plus. So it's a great event, walkers and runners combined. It wouldn't be the Fourth Fest without our carnival coming into town. And July 1st and the 2nd, it will be open from 5 p.m. to dusk in the Aquatic Center parking lot. July 3rd and 4th will begin around noon to dusk. And then our vendors, our food vendors, will open up at noon and run until 9 p.m. on July 3rd and 4th. Our non-food vendors will start, I think, around 2 o'clock that day. We have a treasure hunt at the Coralville Community Aquatic Center July 3rd. There is a registration for this. You still have time to register your children, friends in your life for ages 5 to 10. We sprinkle the pool with gold coins. They are given the time to get started, and off they go looking for their treasures, and then they get to trade them in for prizes. And then the kids and families stay around and get to use the pool until 11:30 that morning. It's a great little event and another great way to kick off the holiday. The petting zoo comes in on July 3rd and will be open from 2 to 8 p.m. on the 3rd, and July 4th from 1 to 7 p.m., sponsored by the Watts Group. This is in St. Morrison Park, and definitely one that brings the crowds to the park, and so much fun and so cute. We are very excited about our concert on July 3rd. Viridian Credit Union is our main stage sponsor. We have Casey Bruner, a local artist from Swisher, Iowa, that's making a name for herself in Nashville. And Big and Rich is headlining at 8 o'clock. So we hope to see you out in the park. What's awesome about our July 3rd concert is it's free. You can set down your blanket and your lawn chairs and find a place. Come enjoy food that's served in the park, bring a picnic basket, whichever you want to do, and enjoy some live music. Make sure you don't stay out too late, because the Coralville Corridor Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast starts at 7 a.m. At the Coralville Recreation Center. They serve pancakes until 10 a.m., just in time for the parade to start. So we hope we'll see you at the Recreation Center on the 4th for a breakfast. And then obviously something that we all look forward to, our Coralville Fourth Fest Parade, our 43rd annual. I hope I have that year correct. I think I do. Okay. Sponsored by West Bank, 10 a.m. The parade route is on our website, so if you're not exactly sure where to find your place, please look for the route on our website. And our Grand Marshal this year is Randy Ward of Randy's Flooring. Something new that Randy's Flooring is sponsoring this year is our Fun Zone, which will be in the St. Morrison Park on the east tennis courts, just east of the Coralville Recreation Center. We will have a rock climbing wall, an inflatable obstacle course, and a dunk tank from 12 to 5, all free. And then the American Legion presents bingo in the St. Morrison Park Hilltop Shelter, July 3rd from 2 to 6, July 4th from 1:30 to 7. Uh-huh.
And we are having balloons too, balloon animals from 2 to 5.
Yes, thank you. Awesome. Yes, come get your balloon animals as well. Coralville Community Aquatic Center will be open from 2 to 6 on July 4th, $4 with a special $4 rate. First 100 people through the door get a free beach ball. I even bring permanent markers so everybody gets their name on their beach ball, so it keeps track of them all. So we hope to see you there. If you, especially, it seems like it's always hot on the 4th of July and a great way to stay cool in between all of the activities. The kids pedal tractor pull weigh-in will be at 4 o'clock. And the tractor pull begins at 5 o'clock. That happens right out here on this side of the park, but in between kind of the aquatic center and the city hall parking lot. Brought to you by Mortensen, and this has been something that has been an old time event that we brought back a few years ago, right on the 4th of July, and fun to see. Shane Crone, our former police chief, comes and hands out awards and does a great job with keeping everyone enthused and involved. Our small stage in St. Morrison Park will start off with a reading of the Declaration of Independence at 6:30. Members of the Young Footlighters and City Circle involved with our CCPA will be performing at 7 p.m., followed by the community band around approximately 8:30 to 9:30. Our showcase sponsor is T Fiber. And then as the community band is finishing up, magically our fireworks begin, which is right around dusk, brought to you by Corda Credit Union, and our Coralville Fire Department does an amazing job with a wonderful fireworks show. I tried to do that fast. I hope I did. So I'm going to send this over to Lynn, if Lynn has anything else to add.
Yeah, really. How right. I get to talk. Everybody that knows me knows I like to talk. For those of you who don't know me, I am Lynn Snyder. I literally grew up in this town. I've been here my entire life. So I have enjoyed a lot of Fourth Fest. And actually, when we had our 100th, I was on that committee too, so I just keep volunteering. So I want to thank my committee publicly because they are awesome. They do a lot of work. If you don't know them, I'd like you to get to know them. They put in a lot of work to make this a 2-day, one of the biggest events in Coralville. So my job is just to make sure they do theirs. So I don't really have anything else.
Thank you. We appreciate so much you being here and look forward to the 3rd and 4th of July. Thank you. Next, we will have the citizens' comments. And this portion of the meeting is an opportunity for members of the public to speak directly to the council about items pertinent to the city of Coralville. It does not have a scheduled hearing. Open meeting laws did not allow council to engage in discussion or debate, but we do appreciate hearing your thoughts and concerns. Please step up to the podium, sign in, stand close to the microphone, and speak for no more than 5 minutes. And we'll have 15 minutes tonight for this time. So, does anyone like to speak with us?
Good evening. My name is Solomon from Coralville. Here to read a proclamation, a People's Proclamation recognizing World Refugee Day in Coralville. This was a proclamation written in conjunction with the Iowa chapter leader of the United Nations Association, Bijou Maliabo. Whereas World Refugee Day is observed annually on June 20 and was officially designated by the United Nations General Assembly in the year 2000, with the first global observance taking place on June 20, 2001, to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees, and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees continues to lead international efforts to protect and assist people who have been forced to flee their homes due to conflict, persecution, violence, and human rights violations. And whereas in the aftermath of the Second World War, the international community affirmed through global agreements that the right to seek safety and protection is a fundamental human right intended for all people, not for a select few. And whereas millions of people around the world continue to be forcibly displaced, and the protection of refugees remains a shared responsibility that strengthens communities, promotes stability, and saves lives. And whereas refugees have become an integral part of Coralville, Iowa, contributing to the strength and vitality of our community through their work in healthcare, education, hospitality, manufacturing, entrepreneurship, and public service, while also enriching our neighborhoods with diverse cultures, languages, traditions, and perspectives. And the city of Coralville has long been recognized as welcoming communities that value inclusion, support resettlement efforts, and affirm the importance of ensuring that refugees are received with dignity, respect, and opportunities to fully participate in civic and community life. And whereas the people of Coralville recognize the importance of compassion, inclusion, and global cooperation in responding to displacement, and acknowledges the efforts of organizations, volunteers, and residents who support refugees in pursuing safety, dignity, and opportunity. Now, therefore, we, the people of Coralville, do hereby proclaim June 20, 2026 is World Refugee Day in Coralville, and encourage all residents to recognize the courage and resilience of refugees, to deepen understanding of global displacement, and to support efforts that uphold the right of all people to seek safety and protection. Be it further resolved that the people of Coralville request that the city of Coralville joins the United Nations and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in reaffirming its commitment to protecting human rights, advancing peaceful solutions to displacement, and ensuring that all people may live in safety, freedom, and dignity. Thank you.
Did you want to sign it, Solomon? Hello, my name is Tara McGovern. As Solomon mentioned, today's People's Proclamation for World Refugee Day is being presented in collaboration with Iowa chapter leader of the United Nations Association, Bijou Maliapo. Bijou isn't present with us this evening because she and several other Congolese leaders are attending the North Liberty City Council meeting to be honored by the City of North Liberty's proclamations of Congolese Independence Day and World Refugee Day. Although Mayor Goodrich declined on behalf of the City of Coralville to participate in recognizing Congolese Independence Day and World Refugee Day, 6 other cities in Iowa have approved the proclamations, and 3 additional cities are holding the matter under consideration. Despite setbacks like Coralville, Bijou and her collaborators are continuing their efforts to educate, engage, celebrate, and build partnerships with communities and cities that are willing to come together for the benefit of all. On a personal note, I was lucky enough to spend 9 years of my childhood in one such city that honors our refugee friends and neighbors in Rochester, Minnesota. When my family moved to Rochester in 1986, we found that many of our new friends and neighbors were from Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. This was thanks in no small part to the Refugee Act that President Carter signed in 1980, and was also due to efforts by the state of Minnesota and its municipalities. Because so many of our playmates were from Southeast Asia, our city and school district went to tremendous efforts to give us age-appropriate geopolitical context so that we could better understand and appreciate our similarities and differences. This was a life experience that shaped me and my friends into being people who value the strength of interconnected communities. To echo the last paragraph of today's proclamation, the people of Coralville request that the City of Coralville joins the United Nations and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in reaffirming its commitment to protecting human rights, advancing peaceful solutions to displacement, and ensuring that all people may live in safety, freedom, and dignity. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matt Suter, and then I'm also here with a couple of my neighbors. We are all residents of the Walker Way street that lines up with Ozark Ridge, and we're just a little bit concerned about some news we received about what's going to happen with the easement behind our house. This easement, from what I'm understanding, is being donated to the city by Jerry Ambrose and Sherry Proud, I think, if that sounds correct. Was back there one day, and I spoke with her along with another neighbor, and she brought to our attention that this area that's currently been maintained by the residents as a very nice grass field that's used by all the local children to play in and all that sort of stuff is going to be turned into a small play area then with tall grass, like kind of native grass and such, covering the rest of the area. And neighbors that have lived there since the neighborhood was built said that when it wasn't maintained, when there was some tall grass there, that attracted snakes, unwanted mice, rats, other more bugs, sort of thing. And Sherry made it sound like, even such a simple thing as like we have a children's play set that is 3 feet off our property, which is, she said we would have to remove that, and there's nowhere else to put it because we live on a hill. So little stuff like that. And then, you know, she's was very vague with the details, with the plan of what's going forward, and anything that was brought up in that short conversation was kind of nixed, and we are just concerned that, you know, it's a waste of the city's money to then start maintaining this property in a certain way that isn't wanted by all the residents. And those that are here with me, we represent half the people on our street, but everybody is in agreement that we would much rather have it the way it is than turn it into this tall grass and not have it be as usable as it currently is. I don't know if you missed anything you guys would like to add, or...
Hi, everyone. Ryan Menken. Also live on Walker Way, corner of Ozark. Biggest thing is that if it could be at least discussed what the plans are, make it transparent, that would be the request. So, because currently right now it's kind of the rumor, what we've heard, not heard. It'd be nice to understand what's happening. But that's it. Thank you.
I would like to start by saying I think that if community members come up and would like to express themselves to council, 15 minutes is a little bit slim for that, especially if there's an issue that multiple people would like to talk about. Good evening, council. My name is Dan Cobble, and although I currently live in Iowa City, I work in Coralville, and I'm a third-generation Coralvillian. I'm here tonight to again talk about Detective Josh Van Brocklin and why he should be fired according to the Coralville Police Department Employee Policy Handbook. I ask that the council reference my previous emails, as everything I say tonight is documented there. And Mayor, I hope that you will not interrupt me for calling out this bigoted police officer like you did at the last meeting. I have 2 pages and may go a bit over 5 minutes tonight with my remarks, but I trust that that will be okay, given how you tried to trample my statement last time.
We give everyone 5 minutes.
Mayor,
Everyone
you
gets
interrupted
5
me
minutes.
multiple times at the last meeting, and honestly, I would appreciate if you give me some respect.
Yes,
although
I will give you all the respect
You don't
you
have a
would
good
like.
track record respecting queer people. So, over the last few weeks, Coralville's leadership has been given evidence of Detective Van Brocklin's hateful and unprofessional conduct on social media. I have emailed you screenshots and detailed descriptions of how his actions violate the police department's policies. Yet, he is still listed as a Coralville employee on the online directory. I have not heard back from a single member of this council about this issue, aside from Councilor Freeman, and that feels incredibly wrong to me, as the labor of holding anti-queer Coralville employees responsible should not fall squarely on the shoulders of its first trans official. So let's get into this performance review. It should be noted that the department's handbook prohibits discrimination based on gender identity. According to section 320.4, discipline may be initiated for any good cause. It is not mandatory that a specific policy or rule violation be cited to sustain discipline. The policy is not intended to cover every possible type of misconduct. In short, Chief Nicholson can discipline and or fire Van Brocklin for whatever he deems as a good cause, such as blatant transphobia on social media. Less than 24 hours after being called out for inappropriate and transphobic social media conduct on his verified Facebook account, Detective Van Brocklin changed his profile picture to one of the largest transphobes in the country, Donald Trump. He eventually deleted his account, but the message was clear. Detective Van Brocklin was saying F you, not only to Coralville's queer community, but also to his superiors and supporters of the police department, who wish for it to be seen as a progressive institution. If Chief Nicholson had told Van Brocklin after the previous meeting to stop making controversial posts, which, let's be real, that's a reasonable thing for a boss to do, Van Brocklin's last post is a clear violation of numerous policies regarding officers obeying their superiors. Section 320.5.8, subheading E, calls out disparaging remarks or conduct concerning duly constituted authority to the extent that such conduct disrupts the efficiency of this department or subverts the good order, efficiency, and discipline of this department, or that would tend to discredit any of its members. When Detective Van Brocklen reacted to a GIF comment of transphobe Alex Jones under a Facebook article about trans supervisor V. Fixmere Arai's winning re-election, he posted a skull and crossbones emoji, indicating he thought it was funny. He also liked a comment stating that the supervisor won re-election because of, quote, pronouns over substance. Van Brocklen clearly spat upon Fixmere Arai's duly constituted authority as a member of Johnson County government. Under Section 320.5.9, Detective Van Brocklen's social media activities violate the following standards of conduct. F, discourteous, disrespectful, or discriminatory treatment of any members of the public or any member of this department or the city. Detective Van Brocklen's social media conduct aimed towards local queer residents is inflammatory and hateful. And his continued employment by the city of Coralville sends a clear message that the city condones such hateful conduct. Furthermore, Van Brocklen's history of trolling locals speaking out against the new jail is completely inappropriate, especially with an account tied directly to a Coralville police detective. H, criminal, dishonest, or disgraceful conduct, whether on or off duty, that adversely affects the member's relationship with this department. To any moral person, Detective Van Brocklen's social media history is disgraceful and at odds with a modern and progressive police department. It is hard to imagine that a queer police officer, let alone queer residents, would feel safe around a person like Detective Van Brocklen, who believes that it is a, quote, embarrassment to protect queer residents from discrimination. M, any on or off-duty conduct which any member knows or reasonably should know is unbecoming a member of this department, is contrary to good order, efficiency, or morale, or tends to reflect unfavorably upon this department or its members. Detective Van Brocklen has demonstrated remarkably poor decision-making, and I believe it's clear that it's inappropriate for him to be employed in such a high-stakes position given his disregard for the welfare of the department, let alone queer residents. Queer people have enough problems with the police than to be expected to put up with a detective who has gone on record hating them. I request the council ask Chief Nicholson how he's holding Detective Van Brocklen accountable, and also I would encourage you all to reassure queer residents that we will be safe and not have to worry about a bigot such as Detective Van Brocklen. Thank you.
This ends our time for community comments. We will now move on to number 7. Oakdale Overlook Subdivision, Coralville Community Land Use Map Amendment. And this is the public hearing. We will begin with our Community Development Report from Dave Johnson and Planning and Zoning Commission report.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. The City of Coralville is comprised of a number of land uses and development types. Collectively, these different land uses provide for the residential areas where the community lives, the commercial employment areas where the community works and shops, the open spaces and parks the community protects and recreates in, and the public uses that contribute to the overall quality of life. Uses in the plan are arranged in a pattern that are intended to minimize incompatibility and conflicts and provide convenient access to needed goods and services. This area is currently designated as corridor commercial on the community land use map. The applicant wishes to amend a 3.69 acre portion of the future 7.06 acre Oakdale Overlook subdivision to high density residential to allow for a 63 unit multifamily building. The development concept has been provided in packets and is enclosed and also shown on the screen. The average density for the residential component will be 17 dwelling units per acre. High density residential allows horizontally and vertically attached units with an average density of 16 or more dwelling units per acre. Immediately east of the property is Oakdale Plaza Commercial Development. Immediately west and southwest of the site are planned mixed-use buildings, townhomes, and single-family homes planned in the Coralville West Village subdivision. Staff supports the request, finding that the proposed multifamily units would be compatible with neighboring commercial and residential land uses. The request and development concept preserves the commercial presence at the intersection of Oakdale Boulevard and Jones Boulevard, while also introducing needed housing in our community. The request supports the Coralville Community Plan goals to provide a diversity of housing types and maintain a balance of housing types within the community. Design of the multifamily buildings and commercial buildings will meet the design requirements of the West Land Use Area and will be complementary to each other. The high-density residential development is near clinics, grocery stores, schools, and other supportive amenities. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this request at their June 3rd meeting. By a vote of 6-0, the Commission recommended to amend the Coralville Community Plan land use map from corridor commercial to high-density residential for the portion of Oakdale Overlook subdivision. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now open the public hearing and on changing the land use for a portion of Oakdale Overlook subdivision from corridor commercial to high-density residential use. Is there anyone who would like to speak with us about this? Are there any written?
No written.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing and hear the ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 2026-1008, an ordinance amending the Coralville Community Plan to reflect certain property generally known as a portion of the Coral Crossing 3rd Edition, Coralville, Iowa, to be designated high-density residential use in place of corridor commercial use. This ordinance introduced first consideration by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second by Vogelsang. Any council discussion or questions for Dave? I think we've talked about this a little before. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Aye.
Wynn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Knutson?
Aye.
All ayes, the ordinance passes. Number 8, Oakdale Overlook subdivision, PUD-A master development site plan. And this is also a public hearing. We'll hear about the community development report and planning and zoning.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. The property is currently Zone C, PUD 1, Commercial Planned Unit Development 1 District. This district allows for a combination of residential as well as commercial uses. The applicant wishes to develop a 63-unit multifamily building, and then there's also 4 multi-tenant commercial buildings. Previously referenced, each one of those commercial buildings is approximately 7,000 square feet. And this will be on 7.09 acres. This property is located in the northeast corner of Oakdale and Jones Boulevards, and this project will extend Jones Boulevard north. Construction is anticipated to start the fall of 2026 and conclude the spring of 2028. The concept provided in the packet illustrates the building design can meet the design requirements set forth in the West Land Use Area Master Plan, and the site design can meet those requirements as well. A more detailed review and analysis of the site and building design will be completed in subsequent PUD-B site plan applications. The PUD-A master development plan is intended to establish a framework for long-term development and ensures the development conforms with the established plan and guidelines over time. So again, a more detailed development-ready B site plan will be provided for review following review of this master development plan. Staff feels there is adequate parking and traffic circulation provided. There's 115 stalls planned for the residential component. This is based on the developer's market parking demand of 1.5 stalls per unit. 70 stalls for the residential component will be provided in building. The commercial component will have 95 spaces. A total of 210 parking stalls are shown on the plan. The building design concepts conform with the West Land Use Area Master Plan. Kind of go over some of those. Those are the commercial buildings. So again, you'll notice very similar and complementary building materials to kind of tie in the whole aesthetic and concept there. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the request at their June 3rd meeting, and by a vote of 6-0, the Commission recommended to approve the preliminary plat and the PUD-A Master Development Site Plan for Oakdale Subdivision. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing on changing the PUD-A site plan for Oakdale Overlook. Is there anyone who would like to speak with us on this subject? Any written?
No written.
No written comments. Close the public hearing and consider the resolution, please.
Resolution approving the preliminary plat of Oakdale Overlook, Coralville, Iowa. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelsang, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Peterson. Discussion?
Dave, do we know at this point yet what the mix of units are? We have there will be 63 units, but do we know like the mix of like 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, if any 3 bedroom will be a part of it?
At this time, I do not know.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether there's anybody on behalf of the developer who might know, who may be at the meeting.
Okay.
Would you like to speak to us?
Yeah, Kelly Beckler from MMS Consultants.
Thank you.
Here on behalf of Grand Rail. To get to your question, right now they've got 34 1-bedroom and 29 2-bedroom plan for that.
Okay, and no 3 bedroom?
No.
Okay. Can you say those numbers again? Sorry.
34 1-bedrooms and 29 2-bedroom.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah. Can someone please explain to me what 1.5 stall parking per unit, how does that work?
It's almost really a average. So some units may only have a 1-bedroom, in which case there may be just need for a one car stall for that unit, whereas some may require 2. Based on the developers' market studies, they've determined that on average they need 1.5 stalls per unit, not bedroom, per unit. So it's calculated per unit, not bedroom.
And who determine which unit get how many parking stall? Is that the developer?
Yes, the developer will determine leasing of parking spaces.
And then will resident parking space separate from the public since it's together with residential and commercial?
Correct, right. There's residential parking spaces provided immediately in front of the building. So this is the building here in question. You have residential parking spaces immediately in front of the building, and they also have 70 parking stalls inside the building.
Will there be off-street parking, or I should say on-street parking available in that area?
No, there won't be any on-street parking available in that area. Jones Boulevard and Oakdale Boulevard are major corridors, arterials, and there really isn't an opportunity to introduce, nor would we want to in those particular locations, any on-street parking.
And based on our community plan, this is adequate parking for both, Dave?
Correct. I'm very comfortable with the number of parking stalls being able to accommodate both the commercial as well as the residential development.
Do we know what kind of business will be occupying in the 4 building yet?
I'm not aware of any tenants having been identified at this point in time. What is typical with multi-tenant buildings is the shell will be constructed, and then as that developer identifies tenants, they will build that space out to suit that specific tenant.
And can you remind me which school will the kid that live in those apartments in the future will go to?
These students will go to Eastview Elementary School, which is in the Clear Creek Amana School District and located actually very close west of here.
Thank you.
I would describe it as walking distance.
For sure.
Is there anything else? Kelly, is there anything you'd like to tell us about this?
Happy to answer any other questions you may have, though.
Okay, thank you. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Nguyen?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Knutson? Aye. Vogelsang?
All ayes, resolution passes. E, consider resolution approving the PUD-A site plan for Oakdale Overlook, Coralville, Iowa.
Okay. Resolution approving the PUD-A site plan for Oakdale Overlook, Coralville, Iowa. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Freeman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Peterson?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Knutson?
Aye.
Vogelsang?
Aye.
Wynn?
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Next, we have number 9, tennis court resurfacing project. This is for proposals for the cleaning, repairing, resurfacing, and painting of 4 tennis courts, which will also be lined for 8 pickleball courts. Proposal report, please. We have Sherry Proud with us.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Bids were taken June 17th for the resurfacing of the 4 tennis courts west of the Recreation Center that were built in 2012. This is for cleaning, filling the cracks with a suitable material, filling and leveling the depressions across the courts, applying an acrylic resurfacing, and then painting those courts. And as you said, right now we have 4 tennis courts and only 2 pickleball courts, and we'll have 4 tennis courts and 8 pickleball courts when they are completed. We received 4 bids ranging from $42,500 to $91,715. And we would recommend awards to Pro Track and Tennis from Elkhorn, Nebraska in the amount of $42,500. They had favorable references from Kearney, Nebraska, Papillion, Nebraska. They were both had completed resurfacing projects with them and were pleased. The city of Iowa City also used this company with their Mercer tennis courts to, after the new court project was done, they surfaced those and painted those. And then after the writing of the memo, West High got back to me and they also surfaced the courts at West High and they were pleased with them. So we would like to go forward with this project, and it will take about 2 weeks, and they're planning to come and do that in August. And we have funds set aside in FY26, FY27, and in our reserve fund to accomplish this project.
Great. I know the pickleball people will be very happy to have those courts. Should we consider the resolution, and then we'll see if we have any questions?
Resolution accepting proposals and awarding the contract for the tennis court resurfacing project. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Vogelsang. Council discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Thank you. Number 10, Iowa City Community School District agreements. This updates the interagency agreement, and the updated agreement specifies that students enrolled in 4-year-old preschool have the option to enroll in before and after school programs with a specific space for preschool programming at each school. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution of an interagency agreement between the Iowa City Community School District for before and after school programs at Borlaug, Van Allen, and Wickham Elementary Schools. Resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Freeman, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Freeman? Oh,
Wynn.
by Wynn. I'm sorry. Here I am. Okay, council discussion, questions? We have someone here to answer for us. Amy's here to. What else would you like to tell us about this?
Just that this is fairly standard. We update our interagency agreements every few years. This does not supersede our 2080 agreement with our partnership programs at the 3 elementary schools. This was just updated by the school district, by all partnering agencies providing before and after school care and summer camp in the schools, and to include the preschool part of it. So this includes just 4-year-old preschool. The school district offered all-day preschool officially as of this upcoming school year. I believe it was offered last year, but now basically with the wraparound of before and after school program. So the interagency agreement just states that. Each partnership school does have a specific place for preschool before and after school program in each of the buildings.
Thank you.
So we have the space and the capacity to take on this added workload, I guess?
Yep. Both Sherry Proud and I attended a meeting with school officials along with other organizations there. And one of the things that we felt very strongly about is When you are serving kindergartners in school-age spaces, it's sometimes tricky for them to be able to sit at a lunch table. So as we continue to take those ages down, then you just really worry about being able, so we felt like it was important, and also a bathroom that's their size. So we requested with each building principal to use space that's already allocated and built for preschool during the school day. And then we'll use that space for before and after.
Amy, wasn't this a pilot program last year in just certain school?
Correct, yes. They came out last year and asked if anyone during the previous school year would be willing to take on preschool before and after. The numbers were not overwhelming in the programs that did take it on, and I would not say that we've been overwhelmed with numbers for this upcoming year, but I feel like sometimes it just takes a moment for people to learn that this is an opportunity that they could add on if needed. So right now we've budgeted for in FY '27 for 12 preschool children in before and after school with specific staffing for that age group, and we're kind of waiting to see how things are shaking out with each program.
Is there a limit? Is there a maximum for each of the preschool?
There's amounts on
Right now we have 12. It would be if we
For the future?
yes.
What I meant.
If we would, right now we're not really close to that. I believe Borlaug is our school that has the most requests for preschool before and after, but we're not at a place where we have a waiting list or even close to it at this point for getting kids into that wraparound program.
Thank you.
Great information, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Knutson? Aye. Vogelsang?
Aye.
Quinn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Oakdale Trunk Sewer Improvements, number 11. This agreement is for engineering services to address condition and capacity issues by replacing deteriorated manholes and installing larger where in certain sections of the existing Oakdale Trunk Sewer generally between Crandick Railroad and Holiday Road. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution approving an engineering services agreement with Veenstra and Kim, Inc. for the Oakdale Trunk Sewer Improvements 2027. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Nguyen. Questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Aye.
Quinn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Knutson?
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Number 12, capital improvements project financing. This is $1,700,000 general obligation bond series 2026A to finance capital improvement projects like utility improvements, street improvements, and flood protection remediation projects. The public hearing is held on March 24th, 2026. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing and approving a loan agreement awarding the sale, providing for the issuance of taxable general obligation bond series 2026A. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelsang, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Nguyen. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Nguyen?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Knutson?
Aye.
Vogelsang?
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Just making a note that council has discussed all of these at our work session earlier in the month. So it's not new information to us, but maybe to the public. But number 13 is bond refinancing, and this $33 million in general obligation essential corporate purpose loan agreements is for refinancing all or a portion of 2016 to 2018 bonds. Public hearing will be on July 14th, 2026. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution to fix a date for a public hearing on general obligation essential corporate purpose loan agreements. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Knutson. Council, roll discussion, council? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Number 14, ArenaCo forgiveness of loans. It will release ArenaCo from loans related to project funding assistance through new market tax credits that governmental units are not allowed to receive. These loans from the city were to construct and purchase projects include the Extreme Arena, the North Mixed Use Building, retail spaces under the Staybridge Hotel, and the Field House. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution releasing ArenaCo from its obligations pertaining to certain loans made to ArenaCo for projects in the Eye River Landing District. Resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Vogelsang. Roll call or discussion, any? Roll call.
Okay. Councilmember Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
All ayes, resolution passes. 15, transfer of funds. The council gave the Director of Finance approval by resolution to transfer unassigned funds to cover disbursements and to comply with regulatory statutes on January 9th, 2024. These transfers need to be revised based on the current updated projected information. In addition, this resolution redirects funds transferred to the hotel fund to the debt service fund to make payments on the hotel 2016 E-bond and consolidates the Eye River Landing Fund into the mall TIF fund. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing the transfer of funds, the redirection of transferred funds, and the consolidation of funds. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Freeman, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Peterson. Discussion?
What did we vote on April 9th, 2024 again? Anybody know?
Basically, you authorized the Director of Finance to be able to transfer unassigned funds.
Forever?
For this year. I mean,
And this resolution
gives the,
extends it.
and it's the numbers for this year.
Okay, it
And
started there.
Anna can explain better than I can.
Yeah.
I know we've been doing this a couple of years, but I don't know why we're talking about April 9th, 2024.
Ann is our finance director.
So at the end of each fiscal year, the city's fund balances are being reviewed in accordance with the city's financial policy. As a reminder, the policy states that the city shall maintain an unassigned fund balance in each operating fund equal to a designated percentage of operating expenses for that fund. The minimum fund balance is set at 35% for the general fund and 25% for all other funds. Currently, the general fund is projected to have a surplus and above the 35% required, and the city is proposing to transfer a portion of that surplus to other funds that are projected to be below their respective policy targets. So amounts are being reviewed and determined each year.
As a reminder, the new tax law, general fund can only have 35%. So this is getting into compliance with that also.
Thank you for your explanations. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
All ayes, resolution passes. We consider a motion to approve the consent calendars presented A through KK.
So moved.
Moved by Peterson, second by Freeman. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
All ayes, motion passes. Now we have the engineers report, number 17.
All right, thank you, Mayor. And I would like to first jump back to item 11 to just make a couple of comments about the project, the Oakdale Trunk Sewer Improvements 2027.
Okay.
Kind of a boring project. in title.
Manholes.
Yeah, manholes, sewer pipes, not that exciting. But I should have mentioned earlier that this is actually the culmination of two previous very large infrastructure projects that we just completed. One is the Oakdale Boulevard Force Main Improvements project that we completed last year, and that realigned the force main coming from the Brown Deer 4 lift station, realigned it on Brown Deer Road, Oakdale Boulevard, Oakdale Road, and replaced a force main that was undersized and a maintenance issue. And then the second big project that we just completed earlier this year was the West Land Use Central Trunk Sewer. And the key point of that is that West Land Use Central Trunk Sewer, that's the project that allowed us to redirect the heavy wastewater flows generated by the Medical Classification Center and redirect that flow to the new trunk sewer in the West Land Use area. And that took that flow off of this sewer segment that we are going to improve with the project, with the engineering services agreement that was approved tonight. So this project is very critical, and we've kind of been on hold, but we really couldn't start the project until we had that force main issue taken care of and also the West Land Use issue taken care of. So it's good to get to this point and hopefully get that project completed in the near future. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't gloss over that project. So
Thank you. Will this close off any trails or any road
no, if you
issues?
look at
No?
the exhibit, well, sorry, we don't have
Yeah.
to jump back to it, but I just wanted to make sure that that exhibit that included, we're not reconstructing that entire length. There are some individual manhole structures at the upstream end that we'll be replacing, but the pipes are okay. But then as you move further downstream, that's where we will be replacing pipes and in some cases enlarging the pipes as well.
Okay.
As of right now, I don't think there will be a trail closure involved with that, but we can clarify that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to then jump to, obviously the big news today was reopening of 5th Street between 12th Avenue and 20th Avenue. And just a reminder, we actually started the 5th Street, the road work back in March of 2024. But we had actually started work earlier in 2023 with all the utility relocation, including the moving of the overhead electrical from Mid-American Electrical from overhead to underground, and kind of relocating a lot of the communication utilities, new gas main. And then we had a separate water main improvement project from 20th Avenue to near Morrison Creek, and that was a standalone project as well. So, better part of four construction seasons, and we finally opened it up this afternoon. So everyone involved, from the contractors, consultants, to city staff, and obviously all the residents, and particularly the business owners that have been in that corridor now for several years, are happy to see it
Absolutely.
complete.
Yeah,
So,
and it's beautiful.
yeah, it looks really nice.
Beautiful.
And we'll just wait for the trees to grow.
Yeah.
They're starting off small, but yeah.
Good. We're
and
all celebrating.
Yeah, and then the last project, just a quick update, the Heartland Drive, Commerce Drive roundabout continues out at Costco, at the southerly entrance to Costco. I can report that the grading, the earthwork involved is substantially complete, and there is a good chance by the end of tomorrow that they will be placing the granular or gravel rock base on top of the subgrade. So you have subgrade, granular rock base, and then that's when you can get to paving. So we're getting a little closer to having that. I've probably said it before, but once your road projects have that granular sub base down, they're kind of waterproof. We've been delayed obviously by some of the rains recently, but hopefully we'll see a big dent in that rain concern put into that project by the end of this week. So
Okay, great.
that's all I have.
I just wanted to ask, speaking of rain concern, we every once in a while get messages about flooding.
Yes.
What's your
Yeah, we had several
Take.
calls. Obviously, unfortunately, I didn't look up the actual rainfall intensities of some of our, rain events over the past week and a half, but they were certainly way up there, more than we've experienced in the past few years. And so that always brings out a lot of concerns. And One thing I always remind folks too is, you know, if you see a road flooding, it's actually designed to do that. The storm sewer intakes that you see along the street, those are typically designed to handle either what's considered a 5-year rainfall event or a 10-year rainfall event. So think of that like your 100-year flood of, you know, you hear those terms thrown around a lot. They're only designed to take in a 5-year rain event or a 10-year rain event. Well, anything above a 5-year or 10-year means the street starts filling with water. Ideally, we like to have the intakes spaced and sized such that you keep a 12-foot clear path down the center line of the road, so your gutters are full, but at least you have a drivable path that's visible, especially for emergency response. But the fact that a road is flooding is not a cause for concern. Then there's also private properties, backyards, and we do have lots of areas in Coralville, because we are hilly, where there are drainage easements, and some older areas there are not drainage easements. That's where the water has always drained, and those drainage ways are not necessarily designed to handle a 5-year event or a 10-year event and keep it in a nice little corridor. It's designed such that it will spread out, and it may encroach past your backyard fence, but then it goes away once the rain stops. So we're meeting with several residents this week to just kind of go over their concerns and their experiences. But I can say overall, I think we escaped without any significant damage, even on our new projects that have a lot of dirt exposed. I think we and all the contractors involved did a great job getting prepared for those events.
I saw the creek out there, the little depressions outside the creek bed were all full. Isn't that what they're supposed to do?
Oh, at 8380?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, that's a perfect storm event that we actually want to see out there, because it brings the creek up, deposits that water into those depression areas, and that's what the vegetation and the plants need out there. So.
Very good. Very good, thank you. I did want to mention that along with the City of Coralville's Independence Day holiday schedule, city offices are closed. City Hall, administrative offices, fire, police, along with parks, water, wastewater, streets, and sanitation departments will be closed on Friday, July 3rd. And some will be closed on July 4th. This building will be open for people to visit and use the restrooms, and the rec center also. You can check the website for details. Also remember that fireworks are legal to use on your own property on July 3rd and 4th from 9 to 11 p.m. But not to be used in public property, and consider all safety measures, and please clean up afterwards. City Attorney's report.
Nothing.
Okay, thank you. Committee and council members, let's start with Katie, please.
Okay, I don't have too much, really. I just wanted to bring up a couple items that I think would be nice to talk about at some point, which are the proclamation policy and then the purchasing policy. So if we could talk about those at some point, I'd like that. That's all I have.
Okay. What was the second one you said there?
Purchasing policy.
Purchasing, yeah.
I know it's hard to believe, but I don't have anything tonight.
Okay.
Might be the first time ever.
Councilmember Peterson, thank you. Okay, Councilmember Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to echo Councilperson Freeman regarding purchase agreement and proclamation policy. If we can carve out some time to talk about that. I also went to a community meeting for welcoming weeks that coming up in September. I think Johnson County, I think this would be the 4th year that we are trying to, to participate in that welcoming weeks. And it's going to be from June, I just said September 9th to September 19. And I personally personally would like for Coralville to have more of a presence participating in that. And I just want to put it out for my colleague to see if anyone would like to join the planning committee. It is open. I am part of the committee right now as part of my work, and I'll be more than happy to wear both hats at the same time. But I think sometimes that can be a little tricky. So if anyone, on this council would like to be part of the planning committee,
Sure.
let me know, and then I'll pass your email along to the person who put all that together.
Okay, I know we've always had the signs out in yards and so on, the welcoming signs. That it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry. And maybe,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe as a city, we could look into way to really have some sort of celebration centrally right here in Coralville, rather than, piggyback onto Iowa City or North Liberty or.
For the welcoming.
For
you
the
mean?
welcoming.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, good.
I have nothing.
Councilmember Peterson? No? Okay. Knutson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A few things. I want to provide a third for advocating for discussion of our proclamation policy as well as the purchasing policy. I'll just comment. I watched Iowa City's, I think it was their last meeting. Now, admittedly, their proclamations took 45 minutes that night, which took some patience on my part to sit through it all. But the thing that struck me is they kind of spread the wealth, if you will. So no person on the council or the mayor had more than one proclamation. So I hadn't really thought about that. It's never been the pattern here or the process here, but certainly makes sense to me if there are specific council members who are really passionate about a proclamation. It makes sense that we could have a policy that lets them read them if they so choose. So I would hope that would be part of that discussion. Since we're talking about rain events, many of us had one. We had a little bit of flooding in our backyard. It didn't affect our house at all, but just want to bring it up because we had our own Amy Foster out today, who's our stormwater maintenance engineer and very good at her job and can come help, discuss, what's going on and potentially offer matching funds, as I understand it, for a rain garden. So we're starting to look at that as maybe a solution to help with our yard. It's certainly available to all Coralville residents, so I want to encourage people to do that. We have some highly skilled staff that can help out with that stuff. And I think, correct me if anybody knows I'm wrong, but I think it's up to 50% of the cost so we're saying, I think that's right, which is a substantial help for that. And the other thing I wanted to mention, my wife brought this to my attention today. It was in the Iowa City Press-Citizen that North Liberty is offering free bus system. I've already forwarded that to Vicki just to get her thoughts on it. It's something we're all aware of, that they stopped using the Coralville bus system, or maybe they'll stop using it in July 1st, right? Yeah, in the next week or so that we'll stop providing their service. So they ended their contract with us, and the service that's described in this admittedly very brief, not exactly comprehensive article describes a service that had maybe more stops, links to Iowa City, which also has a free bus system, and does so at a cost that's less than the contract they had with us. And something I'd like us to monitor. There's certainly parts of the city that we would have, that we could maybe expand our service to more people using, kind of a non-traditional service like that. And the free part's also appealing to me, just to be on the record at that. I know we brought that up and tried to figure out if and how we could join, both Iowa City now and North Liberty in offering that free to to our citizens if at all possible. And I just wanted to make everybody aware of that, and hopefully something we can discuss at some point down the road as we learn more about exactly what they're doing up there. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
Now, may I add one more thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to the people who doing the work. I am not a refugee. I'm an immigrant, but I come from a nation where it was war-torn, and that caused for many waves of Vietnamese people to became refugee. So that's part of my history, and I think it's important to recognize these history and the history that come with the community that exists within our larger community. When we recognize one community, it doesn't mean that we forgot or not elevate all the other community. It's just that so that we don't forget history. Because we know that in our nation, sometimes we conveniently forget the part of history that we don't want to remember. And I do not want my kids and future generation to live in a world where we rewrite history the way that we see fit. It's not okay. It doesn't matter how painful, how ugly our history is. It is part of us. It is part of our nation. It is part of our community. So thank you for doing the work. And again, I apologize for not being there doing the work with you. I'll work on that. I wish I have 24 more hours in a day, but I don't. So thank you for doing the work. You are seen, you are heard, and you belong.
21, consider a motion to adjourn to executive session to evaluate.
We adjourn to executive session.
Okay, this will be to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, performance, or discharge is being considered when necessary to prevent needless and irreparable injury to the individual's reputation, and the individual requests a closed session pursuit of Section 21.5 of the Code of Iowa. I needed to read that. Thank you for moving. Is there someone who would like to second it?
Second.
Second by Nguyen. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Nguyen?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Knutson?
Aye.
Vogelsang?
All ayes, the motion passes. We will convene after our closed session.
Adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Nguyen, second by Peterson.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have to do a roll call. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
I have a bathroom break.
Meeting